Welcome to this edition of GamePro TV as we mark the beginning of a new year. On today's show, we'll look back and tell you which games we thought were the best of 1996. We'll show you the star power behind Virgin Interactive's latest PC creation, Toonstruck, and help you get through sections of Eidos Interactive's hit, Tomb Raider. But first, rules and regulations. This is how our review system works. Each game that we review is judged and rated in 4 categories. Graphics, in which we focus on the look and feel of the game. Control, in which we tell you how easy or how difficult it is to perform the game character's actions. Sound, in which we tell you if the audio action keeps up with the visual. And fun factor, where we sum up the entire game and tell you, quite frankly, if it's enjoyable or not. Each category of the game receives a rating that can go from 1.0 to 5.0, 1 being absolutely horrible and 5 being absolutely awesome. The actual ratings will appear at the end of the review, where we'll sum up the whole thing. Now that you know how the system works, let's put it into action with a review of EA Sports NBA Live 97. One of the biggest trends of 1996 was the use of motion capturing technology for the creation of video games. Motion capturing is the technique used to reconstruct the elusive quality of live action by strategically placing sensors on a living object to record actual movement. Stars like NBA Jam's Juwan Howard were used to create a new brand of motion realism never seen before in video games. The designers at EA Sports called in the Sacramento Kings' Mitch Richmond for the recording process.
So when we're bringing in a top NBA player like Mitch, you can really see the extra, finesse that he has on all of the moves, and the way he spins, the way he lets go of the ball at the end, everything. And that's going to translate into the game so that the user's just going to be able to have that much more of an accurate NBA feel.
But animation isn't everything. Gameplay is what separates the winners from the losers. In NBA Live 97, you have all the options available to you that any real NBA coach would have. You can run whatever offense you choose and motivate your players to play that tenacious style of defense you're famous for. Each team has a full roster, and players suffer from fatigue, injury, and poor shooting performances, just like in the pros. But one word of caution, if you're looking to sign a long-term deal with the Chicago Bulls because of Michael Jordan, or the Houston Rockets to coach Charles Barkley, you'd better think again, because neither player made the final cut. Instead, mysterious roster players with no past and no college affiliation have taken their place. So you've been given infinite powers, including the ability to create Michael Jordan if you want, and put him on your roster. The powers of general manager are at your disposal as well, enabling you to release and trade players at will. All in all, the designers at EA did a decent job of making the gamer feel that he or she was in charge of a real NBA team with a number of gaming options. The characters are comparatively small when measured up against Sony's title NBA Shootout. And falling in love with this screen is a must because the loading process is one of the longest in video game history. But NBA 97 captures the essence of real basketball with better than average animation and realistic gameplay. Back in 1992, when NBA Jam hit the arcades, it was the first game ever licensed by the NBA. From there, it went on to become the most popular sports video game of all time, with more than $1 billion poured into the arcade machines.
NBA Jam is a play on basketball. We kind of derived it from a game called Arch Rivals a while back, as you remember, and 2-on-2. But we took it to the next level where we added the NBA license, and then we added spectacular moves that people always dreamed that they wanted to do, but of course can't do in real life.
NBA Hang Time by Williams Electronics picks up where Jam left off, with over 150 killer slams, moves, and shots found anywhere on an NBA court.
The challenge, of course, in Hang Time was to make it different enough from NBA Jam that people would want to play it and keep on playing it for as long as they played Jam. So we started thinking, okay, what can we do to make this better? We added something called Create a Player, where you can go in and for 1 credit, you can design a player with any particular look. Like we have heads and characters that look like many common people, and then you could choose that face, and then you could also adjust their abilities, their attributes, to however you want. So you can run as fast as you want, you can dunk as high as you want, you can be as tall as you want, or as short as you want, as heavy as you want, or as thin as you want, and that type of thing.
NBA Hang Time also became the first basketball game released for Nintendo 64, giving the gamer even more intense action.
We added more characters. We added many more features into the game. We reshot all the players. We redrew all the heads and all the different angles. The artwork is much more beautiful and much nicer. And when you look at the package, it's just a much nicer package than NBA Jam.
If you're looking for realistic NBA action, Hang Time may not be for you. But if you ever dreamed of pulling off superhuman killer dunks against the NBA's top players, you gotta check out NBA Hang Time by Williams.
It's an incredible rush to see people just laughing and having a good time over something you've done and worked on.
Hang time, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Now let's take a look at some helpful tips that will make Twisted Metal 2 even more intense in our SWAT Pro segment. If you have Twisted Metal 2, you'll notice you have a variety of killer cars to choose from. But if you want to add 2 more to the lineup, here's what you do. Go to the select car screen and hit up, L1, triangle, and right. Now fly through the vehicles, and you'll notice Sweet Tooth has been added to your choices. Now you can use them to terrorize the world. So once again, go to your select car screen and hit up, L1, triangle, and right for the maniacal Sweet Tooth. Now if you really want to heat up the action, go to your select car screen and hit L1, up, down, and left. This code will bring Boss Minion from the depths of destruction. With Minion now at your disposal, you can annihilate your opponents with ease. One shot and they're dead, plus his special weapon re-energizes within seconds, making him almost invincible. One note though, if you use Minion in tournament mode, you'll not be given a password once you complete the level. So once you begin the game, it's do or die to finish the levels. But Minion is so powerful, you shouldn't have much of a problem. So once again, go to the select car screen and hit L1, up, down, and left, and prepare yourself for Metal Mayhem at its best. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll give out awards for the best games of the year.
If you love video games, you need GamePro magazine. Each monthly issue is packed full of tips and tactics, reviews, previews, secret codes, hot news, passwords, game-winning strategy guides, advanced game systems, home PC games, plus regular features on sports, role-playing, and fighting games. Call GamePro's Hot Tips hotline at 1-900-860-TIPS. Visit GamePro on the World Wide Web or America Online at keyword GamePro. GamePro, the #1 multi-platform gaming magazine. Pick one up wherever magazines are sold.
Minnesota Twins Brad Radke. Last season, he struck out 75 batters, pitched 2 complete games, and gave up 32 home runs.
Chihuahua! Chihuahua! Chihuahua!
All new stats, all 28 ballparks. Sega Sports World Series Baseball 2. Authentic as Wrigley, real as Radke.
Chihuahua! Stinger!
Most people would agree that 1996 was a good year for the video game industry.
Yes!
And every step of the way, GamePro TV has been there to help you weed out the good games from the bad. And because of our advice, you've made some pretty good decisions and have the best video game collection on the block.
Nothing feel to be the king, my man.
But now we're going to look back at all the titles Sega, Sony, and the Nintendo 64 released this year and tell you which game was the best game for each system. The 3 nominees for the Sega Saturn Game of the Year are and the winner of the GamePro TV Sega Saturn Game of the Year award, Nights into Dreams. The animation in this title is some of the most beautiful and engaging of any Sega game to date. Also, the gameplay follows the typical format of other platform games, and as much as collecting items and avoiding enemies are the keys to success. But the added dynamic of making the character fly through these gorgeous dream worlds takes the game to another level. Nights into Dreams is our Sega Saturn Game of the Year. Here are our nominees for the Nintendo 64 Game of the Year. Alright, now it's time to announce the GamePro TV Nintendo 64 Game of the Year. And the winner is Super Mario 64.
Here we go!
Not much more can be said about the game that hasn't already been uttered. Time magazine named the Nintendo 64 the Machine of the Year, largely because of what Mario proved it was capable of. The machine and the game were the hottest selling items this holiday shopping season, rivaling the Cabbage Patch Doll mania of the 80s. And not once did Mario beg to be tickled. All in all, Super Mario 64 proved the market for video games is still alive and well if the games are exceptional. Now let's take a look at the best games for the Sony PlayStation. The GamePro TV PlayStation Game of the Year is Tomb Raider by Eidos. Most of the elements that make Super Mario 64 great are present in Tomb Raider, but present in a machine that runs on half the computing power of the Nintendo 64. Tomb Raider proved that powerful machines aren't necessary to make powerful games, as it wows you with great animation, intriguing gameplay, and white-knuckle suspense. The designers of the game place you in an adventure that you simply cannot walk away from until it's complete, forcing you to hone your mental skills along the way with some of the most mind-boggling puzzles ever in a video game. Tomb Raider will keep you occupied for months, impressing you every step of the way with what counts: great gameplay. Now let's take a look at GamePro's top 10 games for 1996. When we come back, we'll go behind the scenes of the making of Universal Interactive's Disruptor.
This isn't just a gym. Look at what it does. It changes lives. It makes thousands confident, accepting. This isn't just a coach. This coach helps build muscles, strength, endurance, self-esteem. This isn't just a ball. It improves concentration, focus, motivation, teamwork. This isn't just a sport. It's the way way we train for life.
When I was young, I discovered music and practiced to become a musician. Later, I joined the Navy and became an officer and learned about discipline and teamwork and doing your best. Then playing pro ball, the dream of a lifetime. These are the things I love. These are my choices. But none of them would have come true if I hadn't made an important decision a long time ago. I don't do drugs. That's what's worked for me. Think about it.
Now let's take an inside look at the new animated adventure game for the home computer, Toonstruck. Created by Burst, a division of Virgin Interactive, Toonstruck features the comic genius of Christopher Lloyd, who plays Drew Blink, a cartoonist who becomes trapped in the bizarre cartoon world he created. Along with his sidekick Flux, his mission is to get back to Earth by outwitting the wacky characters he conjured up.
Is this an arcade?
No, it's a flower shop. Only we're fresh out of flowers. Of course it's an arcade, you meathead!
When we created Toonstruck, we wanted to appeal to everybody, so we really went back to that classic cartoon comedy, you know, anvil on the head, the exploding cigar, and then we added our own little twist, you know, shooting bowling balls out of your butt. You know, those kind of things, I think, made Toonstruck a very funny game.
Oh dear.
Toonstruck combines live action with classic Hollywood-style animation, similar to that of Roger Rabbit. And many top celebrities lent their voices to bring life to the Toonstruck characters.
I'll be your merciless dungeon guard for the duration of your stay.
Working with the celebrities on Toonstruck was really good. They were tremendously professional. Christopher Lloyd took his character very seriously. And if you can imagine, he's in a green screen studio and he's talking to characters that don't exist until we composite them into the scene. So that's a very difficult thing to do and to still deliver a tremendous performance.
This is inexcusable!
Toonstruck offers superb gameplay and hours of fun as the gamer travels through this twisted and crazed animated adventure.
Congratulations, your mission was an astounding, tremendous, cutified success.
As we said earlier, one of the best video games of the year was Tomb Raider by Eidos Interactive, but it can also be one of the most frustrating and mind-boggling as well. An example of which would be the trials and tribulations you encounter in the Lost Valley. At the very top of the waterfall, you'll find a machine minus 3 cogs, rendering it useless. Your mission, if you choose to accept, is to find those 3 cogs. Go down the waterfall. Climb over the first set of rocks. Jump into this pool of water. Now climb to the top of the rock formation. And right at your feet, you'll find the first cog. For the second cog, climb up to this tunnel to get to the end of the broken bridge. Hopefully by now, you've mastered your running, jumping, and hanging on for dear life technique, because you're gonna need it here. If you make it across, you'll be rewarded with the second cog. The third cog is easy enough to find. Just go to the building at the far end of the valley and dive into the pool of water. At the bottom, you'll find the third cog. Now return to the machine, place the cogs in position, and pull the operating lever. The water will be diverted, cutting off the waterfall. At the end of where the stream once flowed, you'll find a door and the end of the level. One of the hottest new games on the market this month is the latest by Universal Interactive Studios, Disruptor, a first-person shooter for the Sony PlayStation.
Disruptor is set in a sort of undefined future. It's on Earth, and it's a science fiction story in which you, the player, take the role of a futuristic commando. And your job is basically first to survive this commando training into what they call the Lightstormer forces, and then you go to various parts across the solar system and sort of clean up after some terrorists and pirates and things like that.
The first thing we wanted to do was make a game that was extremely fun. We're all gamers here, and we wanted a game that we could sit down and enjoy for hours. I think by working with Universal, we've been able to bring in a lot more talent than we ever would have otherwise. For instance, we are filming the live segments of this game with Universal Television, and as a result, the quality is just beyond what we ever could have expected.
And action.
Disruptor continues the growing trend in video games lately of combining the talents of game developers with movie-making experts from Hollywood.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting about this is that there's a lot of emotional content to this part of it. We've got characters that we're going to see. The fact that we're telling a story that I think is integrated into the gameplay, which is really cool. There's actually information that you're going to see and hear in the live action that is going to help you play the game better.
Think good thoughts.
Even the soundtrack got a Hollywood treatment, as musician David Bergeau composes to the action.
The idea was to bring what a film score brings to a film, which is followed very tightly the action. Essentially, the player is a little bit governing how the score will turn out.
Universal's other title, Crash Bandicoot, was an enormous success, giving the PlayStation its first corporate mascot and propelling the company into 3D platform wars with Sega and Nintendo. Adhering to the philosophy of refusing to fix what isn't broken, Universal's latest game, Disruptor, will only be available from the Sony PlayStation.
Disruptor's being done on the PlayStation for a couple of reasons. For one thing, the PlayStation is a good platform to sell on. There are a lot of people with PlayStations, and what we want is a lot of people to play the game. And secondly, the technology present in the PlayStation is really unmatched for creating this kind of a game. Its ability to move a lot of polygons allows us to do a really detailed environment, also allows us to do a lot of interesting things with the enemies.
Disruptor is available at stores now. GamePro TV will be right back.
If you love video games, you need GamePro magazine. Each monthly issue is packed full of tips and tactics, reviews, previews, secret codes, hot news, passwords, game-winning strategy guides, advanced game systems, home PC games, plus regular features on sports, role-playing, and fighting games. Call GamePro's Hot Tips hotline at 1-900-860-TIPS. Visit GamePro on the World Wide Web or America Online at keyword GamePro. GamePro, the #1 multi-platform gaming magazine. Pick one up wherever magazines are sold.
To stop drug use, I think it's going to take more than a Just Say No campaign. It's so easy to tell somebody, just say no, but you've got to give them the power to say no. You have to decide whether to compromise yourself or not. You have to decide whether you're going to help people or whether you're going to hurt people. You have to decide, what's important to you. Where are your priorities? I'm no stronger than the next guy. I've got to be able to make wise decisions in my own life and know that that's what I want to do.
This isn't just a gym. Look at what it does. It changes lives. This isn't just a coach. This coach helps build muscles, self-esteem. This isn't just a ball. It improves concentration, teamwork. This isn't just a sport. It's the way we train for life.
Well, that's all the time we have for this show. Check your local listings for replay times. Next month, we'll head out to Las Vegas to see what's on the horizon at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show. That's next month. Until then, play on.